And now it's time for your viewer comments. So going now to the Christopher Ward, Neowana says it looks like a Movado. Well, I can see your point there because of the extreme focus on the what you call this, the brand of Christopher Ward, the logo on the upper half of the dial, and then there's some text below. It kind of looks like Movado, but let's make no mistake about it. The Movado um, Silver Moon is actually the 12 o'clock position, and that is not just a logo of the Movado, but it has been so iconic for so long. That's why everything else that tries to make anything near that aesthetic is almost immediately compared to Movado. And I couldn't blame Neowana, but it's not. It's not. It's a completely different feel, especially with the hands and how they look like. The hands makes it stand out. Denver Cavanes also mentions this, the new standard in luxury and design. Movado, are you kidding me? Movado might be going or replying in that manner indeed, but it's not. They're not going for originality here. They're really trying to focus on the bezel by not putting so much attention on the dial. I Ater's Monkey says that's some weird superimposed dial on the videos. Yes, and what can you do? I only got 8 pictures to work with there, and even the marketing guy said he's just thankful that I was able to do anything with those 8 images. So don't push it, please. You know, don't be so demanding. It took time. It took hours for me to like rotoscope that. It's really hard. Okay, almost banned from the channel for that. Ace Brigade says, it's a beautiful watch if only the face had numbers. The other thing, I'm not a big fan of this. Christopher Ward doesn't get the most decorated version of the Celita movements. Hell, the movement in my Robotonum GMT looks way better. All that said, it is a beautiful fashion accessory. I don't know that I would call it a timepiece though. Okay. Let me decipher what Ace Brigade here is saying, and also maybe it's an indication of our social normities at the moment. A timepiece, when it doesn't have a timepiece, let's just say, is anything that has or that indicates time, you know, and the markers I don't think are enough to qualify or disqualify, for the lack of it, a thing as a timepiece. You know, if you just look at the sun, for example, if you see where it's coming from and where it's setting, you could argue that the sun is a timepiece. It doesn't have numerals, it doesn't have any hands, and yet you know that it's indicating time. You know, a timepiece as a watch can be viewed the same. You know, for the very definition of a timepiece, it's really any watch or any clock, no matter how it's worn or no matter how it's displayed. It has a face. It can indicate time. And Movados and other watches that don't have any indexes or hour markers should be called timepieces. Now, I hope that this is not a problem for Ace Brigade. I hope that he is not implying this. But to me, what I find in our current time is that many young ones don't even know how to read analog hands anymore. So if they lose that indicator of, let's say, for example, the second hour or the fifth hour, they have no clue how to read the time. And that is kind of sad, because I came from a generation where we give commendation for working hard and for making something that is difficult a task that is done regularly on a consistent basis. And that's why Michael Jordan is one of the greatest players of all time, because he made something, many things difficult, to be something so effortless and consistent as he did. A little basketball reference there. But that to me is a sad situation when young people could not read analog hands, and I hope that is not the case that we're looking at here, because actually if you have a watch that doesn't have indicators, it gives you a little bit more depth as a person about your taste, that you're willing to go to the unconventional route to make a fashion statement, or that you're intellectual enough to know how to read the time using these antiquated contraptions, or you have a much more profound understanding of watches regardless of what other people may say. And we've understood so much, or we've taken so much, so many design principles, and with just the lack of watch indicators. And that also goes to show how designers look at certain things. You know, it doesn't. Many people, or the most popular reference for this or example of this is minimalism, wherein you just have the bare minimum and still accomplish a task, especially visually, and for any tool that you've invented. That's what most people would see. But to me, sometimes you really have to omit certain parts for you to heighten the aspects of the remaining parts of not just any watch, but any other object. Beauty, again, is also subjective. Ace Brigade here has every right to say that it was beautiful without if only if it had the numbers on it. But now I could argue that if it had the numbers or indicators on it, it wouldn't be any different compared to the other collections that it in the 12 collection. I still don't like that name, the 12. It kind of messes my grammar up. But that is the deal. You just have to accept it. I just hope that you could still read the time, even if you don't have those indicators. And I hope that that changes in the next generation of watch enthusiasts, that they could still actually read the time despite such.